Good morning, Andy here. I'm a qualified fitness coach. Have been in the fitness industry for the last 12 years, working with a whole range of people from kids all the way through to older adults. Love the challenge that it brings, working with the different populations. Also too, very proud Happiness Co ambassador. This morning, guys, we're going to be looking at how to release and roll through our upper body. Last time, if you saw the video last time, we tended to focus more on the lower body, and like I said, this morning wanted to go through more of the upper body stuff. So obviously our upper body can carry a lot of tension in different spots, and as I said, I'm just going to go through and show you guys how to release those spots, which is going to help to, as I said, release tension, improve your posture, improve your range of motion, which is going to reduce your risk of injury when you're training, and also to just help you to relax as well. All right, so our first one I'm going to get into is our rhomboids, so the muscle group in between the shoulder blade and the spine. Okay, so going to use the red ball this morning. So if you've got a tennis ball or a baseball or cricket ball or anything like that, golf ball, you can substitute it if you don't have one of these. I think I said last time, these ones you can get just off the internet. These ones are Iron Edge. I think they're about $5 or $6. So if you're looking for something like that, jump on there and see if you can get one. So in between the shoulder blades, like I said, this one here is a great one to release. Obviously, because as we're sitting at our desk and relaxing, these muscles here can tend to become a little bit weak. So releasing them can be a way of helping to reactivate them, and I'll show you an activation drill that you can do throughout your day if you're sitting at your desk. So these ones here also too can be a cause of headaches. If you're getting tension headaches, the source can be coming from here, so it can be really important to try and release off through here. So all you do, pop the ball against the wall, so obviously outside on the brick wall, so you can lean back nice and hard. Just cross the arms over the chest, so you're just helping to open the shoulder blades. Okay, so then that way you can obviously get into the muscles a bit more. Obviously you want to make sure that you don't roll through the spine. A, it's not very comfortable, and B, you're not going to be able to release it. Morning, guys. Obviously I can't see who's on, but thank you for jumping on. So as you can see, the ball's just in between the shoulder blade and the spine there, just rolling up and down. So again, if you find a particularly sore spot, like as you're rolling, if you feel a little bump like there for me, you can stop and just hold it on there with constant pressure, just until you feel it release, or you can just keep going back up and down over that spot. Remember though, that your pressure should be about an 8 out of 10, okay? So you shouldn't be 10 out of 10 where you feel like you're going to pass out or anything, but about an 8 out of 10 where there's that level of discomfort, but it is manageable. So obviously once you've done there, you can move it up a little bit higher. Again, if you feel like you need to spend a little bit more time, hand-eye coordination's not great this morning. A little bit more time in one spot. Obviously would then do both sides as well, so same thing on the other side. Just cross the arms over, up and down. Finding a sore spot, a few sore spots in there. If you've got a hoodie on, maybe put the hood on. Otherwise, the ball will get wrapped up in there. Obviously you can do these with a roller, but as I was saying last time too, the ball's going to be more specific, going to help you get into those specific spots that are tight, or the little knots that are in there, more so than just the broad roller. Obviously you can get rollers with little dimples in them, or little nodules on them, which can do the same sort of thing, but like I said, personally I prefer to use the ball for something like this. So that is our rhomboids. As I was saying before, guys, one of the things that you can do if you're sitting at a desk all day with those ones, if you find that you're starting to slump towards the end of the day, just simply putting the hands like this, so thumbs out to the side, lock the elbows in, and all you're doing is just pushing the hands out to the side, pushing your chest out. So Really trying to feel that squeeze in between the shoulder blades, hold for a couple of seconds. It's a great exercise just to help reactivate these muscles here in between the shoulder blades and help you to sit back up tall. So it might be something, you know, you might try and do every hour if you find that you're slumping, or you might find, you know, you might do it a couple of times a day if you're not too bad. All right, so next one I'm going to go into is a teres in behind the shoulder here. Okay, so this one here obviously controls a lot of cross-body motion, but also external rotation. Okay, so again, I guess probably don't tend to use a mouse as much these days, but you know, if you are using a mouse constantly, obviously on the same side and moving backwards and forwards all day, you can find that this can be another area that can get quite tight. So same sort of thing. The ball's just going to go in behind the shoulder here, up against the wall. Okay, with this one, you just want to make sure that you support the elbow. Okay, so keeping the elbow up at shoulder height, support the elbow with the other hand, and then just rolling backwards and forwards through there. Okay, so again, same thing. If you find a spot that's particularly sore, just going to stop and hold it on there. Otherwise, like I said, just rolling backwards and forwards. You know, with each of these, probably about a minute per, you know, per side, per spot. But again, if you're particularly sore in one spot, you know, spend as much time through there as you need to until you feel that that you've got that release and you feel like you've got a bit more freedom of movement. That one's normally a pretty sore one for me. It's not too bad this morning. Swap sides. Like I said, same thing on the other side. Just supporting with the other hand. So as I said, obviously, if you're finding that you can be restricted moving through or across the body, this can be an area, but as I said, that also too, that external rotation, if you're doing a lot of that sort of movement, it can be an area that can get quite tight. As you can tell, it's a nice cool morning here in Melbourne this morning. So next one, guys, going to move into the chest. I know we spoke about that a little bit last time, but with the ball against the wall, again, when you're doing this sort of stuff, obviously find a wall that's nice and solid, that you're not going to push the ball through the plaster or something like that. So like I said, find a nice solid wall that you can do these sort of things on, or a door frame where you're not going to risk damaging the wall. So this next one with our chest, so where our collarbone meets the shoulder, there's a little bone that sticks out sort of here. Okay, going to come down about 5 or 6 centimeters to the outside more so to start with. Okay, so we're going to pop the ball on here, and then we're going onto the wall. So just going onto the wall, okay, and then same as before, just gently rolling backwards and forwards through there, up and down, again until you find a sore spot. And again, these are the muscles here that when you're in that seated position, or when you're sitting for a long period of time, whether it's at school or whether it's at work, you know, they tend to shorten, and then obviously you can create that rounded shoulders, which, as we were discussing last time, can obviously then have a real impact on obviously your movement patterns, you know, externally, you know, moving overhead, which then, you know, you can place extra pressure through the lower back to try and compensate, because our body's a fantastic compensator. If one area isn't moving as it should, then the body's going to find a way to compensate to allow you to do that. So, you know, that's probably one of the common things that we see at work is that, I guess, that rounded shoulders from people sitting at a desk all day, and then, you know, when they're trying to do an overhead press motion, they're arching out that lower back to help get the hands overhead rather than, you know, having that range of motion. So this is an area that we really try and concentrate on with a lot of our clients, to help them, obviously, like I said, release off that tension and increase their range of motion and improve the improve the range of motion but decrease their risk of injury, which is obviously, you know, a huge thing. You know, all these sorts of things are designed to reduce your risk of injury. So that's that side. You can also use, as we were talking about before, something like a broom handle. Okay, obviously these ones here are going to be a little bit more brutal, so depending on what your pain threshold is, something like this, I'll leave up to you whether you want to use it or not. But like I said, it really does help to get in there. Again, you just want to make sure obviously you got the end of the broom up against the wall so it's not going to slide away. So from here, same sort of thing, you know, start in the same sort of spot with these. You can either use the other hand to rotate around, or you can hold it in one spot, and if you've got the space next to you, you can wave the arm out to the side.
Morning, Dottie.
Who?
Dottie.
Oh, Dottie. Morning, guys. So great way, again, like I said, really great way to release. Obviously, once you feel that that one's released, find a different spot. All right, so it's chest. So next one, going to go into our upper trap. Okay, so upper traps are the muscles here between the top of the shoulder and the base of our neck. Okay, so these muscles across the top here, these ones love to carry tension, and they also love to get involved when they shouldn't. Again, another common thing that we tend to see, I'll probably go this way first, it's a common thing we tend to see at work when people are doing a row motion, so pulling back. So these are the ones here that should be working in the middle of the back. Often what we'll find is people will lift up first because they're so hyperactive through here. Okay, hyperactive through here, lift up and then pull back. So these ones here are doing more work than what they need to. And again, you know, that sitting motion, again, it's an area that tends to I guess get tight, tends to hitch up, but again also too, you know, people, like I said before, people tend to carry a lot of their stress and tension through here as well. And also too, you know, now our tech neck, you know, having our phone looking down like this all the time is putting stress back through here too. So again, like I said, the body's a great compensator, so you'll find that it'll find ways of compensating and using muscles that aren't always meant to be used. So what we're going to do with the ball at the halfway point, okay, so from where the AC joint is, where the bone sticks up at the top here, to the base of the neck, we find that halfway point, okay, so for ladies it's probably about where the bra strap comes over. For guys, like I said, halfway point. So all you're going to do, again, find a door frame. Is probably my best bet at home because it's nice and solid, and you're not going to risk damaging the wall or anything like that. So all you're going to do, lean forward, okay. Again, find the spot. With this one, you don't really tend to need to roll around too much. It's more just holding on that one spot, okay. So again, when you find the spot, you'll know. With this one, you can. You not see?
No. Yeah.
So this one, so this one here, like I said, you can find that depending on how tight you are, you might find that you might get a referral of pain straight down the arm, which can happen, or you can get a referral of pain straight up into the head. Obviously, if it's up into the head, it's a good sign that it's one of the causes of headaches, tension headaches, if you are getting tension headaches. Again, that pain shouldn't be ridiculously heavy. So if you find that it's a really heavy referral pain, then maybe just back off the pressure a little bit until until you feel a bit more comfortable to be able to push a little bit harder. But like I said, this is one that I would probably recommend for most people to try and do every other day, or certainly every day. And again, particularly too if you're training, as well as obviously working and doing your everyday things, because again, if you're a tradie and you're doing stuff overhead all the time, again, it's an area that can get quite tight with that repetition, and like I said, can have a real impact on the way the rest of the body moves. But like I said, really, really good one to help release those upper traps. All right, going to go inside now, okay, and we're going to go through our lats, which again, if you haven't done that before, you'll find that it can be quite painful initially, but again, it's a really good one to get into. And we're also going to go through our triceps as well. So again, triceps, an area that tends to get neglected, but one that can be quite painful, but also you find can really help to improve your range of motion in a few different movements. Now the dog wants to get involved. Pommy, you stay over there. All right, so with our lats, guys, I'm going to start off with the big roller, but again, as I said last time, if you've got something like this one, whether that be a couple of tennis balls taped together with some duct tape, or you've gone out and found one of these sorts of rollers, either or can be a really good option. So with the lats under the armpit down through the side here, okay, so obviously the part probably up under the armpit can tend to be the most I guess sensitive, if you want to turn it that way. So all you're going to do, pop the roller down on the floor. Put me out of the way. Pop the roller under the arm. Pop the roller under the arm. Hey,
Come here.
And then all you're going to do, pop the hand on the floor for a bit of support, and then all you're going to do is just gently roll backwards and forwards. Okay? Like I said, if you haven't done this before, you might find that initially it might be quite painful. So you might just need to, again, ease the pressure off on there to start with. Obviously, same thing on the other side. What do they say? Never work with kids and animals. So as I said, just backwards and forward through there. Okay, so obviously with the lats, again, stretching up over the head, also to that forward movement. That forward movement as well can be an area that can get quite tight. So like I said, definitely would recommend getting in through there if you haven't before. As I said, probably, something like these sort of ones, or the ball that we were using before, is probably going to be a little bit, get in there a little bit deeper and potentially be a little bit more painful. But again, depending on how often you've done these, maybe start off with the roller and then work your way up to something like that, just to be able to get in there a little bit more. And that might be over a couple of sessions. It might not be in the same session. Again, just depending on what your pain threshold is like. So our next one, going to go into our triceps. Like I said, triceps, obviously when you're doing push-ups or chest press, obviously dips, when you're doing mountain climbers, if you're doing boxing, triceps tend to be working quite often, and like I said, can be an area that people tend to neglect when they do their rolling. Tend to do their main, the main body parts like the legs, the quads, hamstrings, glutes, calves. As I said before, you might do your chest and your back, and that's kind of it. But a lot of these other muscle groups, like I said, the biceps and the triceps and those sorts of things, as I said before, can can have a real impact. Like if your triceps are really tight, it's going to impact the capacity of your arm to get across the body. Obviously, you know, the tightness of your chest is going to have a big impact on that too. But as I said, you know, the triceps is another one as well. So with these, same thing on the roller, okay? So all you're going to do, just bend the arm up, start at the elbow, and we're working up towards the armpit, okay? So same thing, just gently working up towards the armpit. So you can use the hand to support the head here. And again, like I said, obviously, if you find a particularly sore spot, you might stop and hold it on there. You might work through backwards and forwards just through that area. Once you've gone through nice and slowly, you might do some nice big long strokes from the elbow all the way up, like I said, just to really help release off that tricep. So obviously, like I said, both sides. So same thing on the other side. As I said, something like those ones are going to get in there a little bit more. So again, up to you. So the last one to do this morning is just through the forearm. Again, obviously, you know, forearms tend to take a fair amount of punishment. You know, whether you're doing chest press, you know, whether you're doing deadlifts, any kind of carrying motion, really. Obviously, your forearms are always working. Chin ups, anything like that, lat pull down. You know, your forearms are always working. And obviously, if they get tight up around the elbow, you can get a little bit of elbow pain. So you know, getting into the forearms with these ones here, you can obviously either just use your fingers. Okay, so on the outside of the forearm, roll the sleeve up here. On the outside, just at the front here. So just really gently working through there. Okay, like I said, you know, if you find a particularly sore spot, again, you might just hold it on there, try and let it release, let it relax with the fingers. Thanks, Pommy. Alternatively to that, you can obviously, same thing, use a ball and just roll through the forearm. Obviously, you can do the same thing on the inside as well. Okay, so again, this can be an area that can get quite tight. You know, if you're playing tennis or golf, tennis elbow usually will be on the outside and golfer's elbow on the inside. And also too, if you're doing a lot of bicep curls, the bicep tendon tends to run down through there. Don't put him on. Alright guys, that is it for this morning. I'm going to get out of here before the dog completely destroys everything. I hope you guys have got a bit out of it, and look forward to seeing you guys later on during the week. Alright, have an amazing day. Huge love.